Okay, we're learning for the Chayolim, Avram Mordechai ben Leah Esther, Azariah ben Leah Esther, Shmaya ben Chana Zelda, Yoel Kona ben Leah Rus, and all the Hagana Yisrael. Okay, we're up to Vav Amid Aleph. We're up to Vav and Amid Misef the Baba Kama. Okay, let's go through what we got. The Mishnah had said, Arba of Zikin, Hashab Abba Ramava, Havit Lahar Shokim, Havit Lahar, Bazeshi Vishkaim, Hatsal Shawish Behen, Shadarkan the Hasid, Shmos and Lecha, Ukshahisi Chamasik Sham Tashlim Nezek Meta Baretz. So the Mishnah said a cloud, guys, that the Tzadashava that all these things have is that what the Shadark Lahasik Shmos and Lecha. So now, what does that Tzadashava come to include that's not included in Shar, Karen Shem Varegel, Bar, and Eish? In other words, what is not included? In other words, the Tzad Shava comes to include a case that is Eish, that's not Bar, that's not Shar, or else what do you need the Tzad Shava for? In other words, if the only game in town are these Nezikin that's mentioned in the Mishnah, the Tzad Shava doesn't have to come and include something. Tzad Shava is giving me a working definition of. So we're going to see a few different opinions as to what it's come to include and why those different things are not directly, why they're not shor, why they're not bar, why they're not ma'av, because they're not exactly that. So that's what the Tzad Shava is coming to do. That's the mission of the first part of the daf. The mission of the first part of the daf is to go ahead and define and the few what the Tzad Shava comes to include. So the first case, the Tzad Shava Shemhen Vavam and Aleph. Lasuye Mai. What does it come to include? It must come to include. And the Tzad Shava comes to include something. What does it come to include that I wouldn't know directly from the Ovis Nezikin? Avnus Sakinu Maso, an even or a knife or some type of load. Shenicham Bereish Gago. You left on the top of a roof. The Nafla Beruach Mitsuya, and it fell off the roof with a wind that you could have anticipated coming. It's a ruach mitzuya, it's a normal wind. It's not a hurricane gust. It's a normal wind. So you could have anticipated that this avnei sakina maso will not remain on the roof. It's going to end up what? Down below. Says the Gemara 1 second. So now, what do you mean? What do you need the Tzad Shava to include this case? What's unique about this case that I can't learn it directly from the Avnes itself? Guys, you hear the side. What these cases are not similar totally to this, or not similar totally to this, that I needed Tzad Shava to include them. Good. So now the Gemara is going to analyze this case, why it's not like one of the specific Avnes Nezikin. So for example, we have Avnes Sakinim Aso Shenich B'Reish Gago, they falls Ruach Mitzuya. That is it does damage. Hey Chidami. Ibahade the Kamaski. If it does damage, as it's going down, it falls on someone, that's Hainu Eish. That is the Tolda of Eish, right? So that's the Tolda of Eish. How's this thing doing damage? It has the wind that knocked it off the roof. It has the Koyach Acher now mixed into it. And Eish, the definition of Eish, there's the Koyach Acher Murav Boy. So Maishna Eish, the Koyach Acher Murav Boy, it's your money, Ushmras and Alecha. Haninami, this Avnus Sakina Maso, that is also as well Koyach Acham Uruvbo. There's no Koyach mixed in it. So now, in other words, do I need to Tzad Shava for that? No. If it's doing damage on the way down, it's Eish. I don't need the Tzad Shava. I learned it is Eish. That's the Tolda of Eish. Now, and the Ella must be busted in Aichi. It must be, it did damage when? Not when it was going down. It did damage after it came to rest in Rishus Harabim. Now, if the person was mafker his Evan Sakin Basoi, Bain Larav, Bain Lishmul, Hainu Bar. That's Bar. So, Maishna Bar Shekain told us just like Bar, from the time it's there, it's right to do damage. Good. Now, Ella must be what? The loy afkarinu. You weren't mafkarid. Now, according to Rav, it's shar. According to Shmuel, the amakulimi bar lamanu hainu bar. So, in other words, I got a problem. Guys, I have a problem. Right? What's my problem? Why is this not either Aish or bar? If it does damage on the way down, it's Aish. If it does damage after it comes to rest, what? It's bar. Good. It's bar. What now? If you were mafgrid, it's bar. Aside according to Rabbi Shmuel, and if you want a mafgrid, it's according to Shmuel, it's bar. Good. So in other words, what's my question to you? The tzadashava means this. I couldn't learn this out directly. So maman shach. If it does damage going down, I can learn it out directly from Aish. If it does damage after it's in Rishus Rabim, whether it's mafgrid or not, according to Shmuel, it's bar. So why do I need the tzadashava? Das it does. It's either Aish or bar, right? Again, and the tzadashava is coming to include, there must be something unique about this case that I can't go ahead and categorize it as Aish, and I can't categorize it as what? As bar. What's the uniqueness of this case? Says Gemara, I'll tell you what that is. Lo'ilam, I will tell you what. Lo'ilam, the afgrinu. You were mafgrid. So if you're mafgrid, we said, say, according to Rav, kind of Shmuel, it's bar. But it's not similar to bar. You know why? Malak bar shekain ein koyach acha murav boy. The bar was not created al yedei a koyach acha. Haima bahani shekoyach acha murav behen. Right? What are you going to say about these? That a koyach acha was murav behen. How did this thing got there? It got there what? Through a koyach acha. Good. It got there through a koyach acha. So this is not your classic bar. Yeah. What's your problem?
Well, we got there from the roof down.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
A koyach acha created this bar. Good. So now, says the Gemara. So what are you going to say? You're going to say you should be pata because there's a koyach acha murav boy. Eish teichiach. Eish will disprove you. Eish has a koyach acha and yechayev. Ayulis mala eish can darker leilach hazik. It can do damage not in one locale. It can move, as opposed to a bar. Bar tochiach. V'chazer adin. And now you learn out through the tzadashava between eish and bar. You learn out avmus sakinu masosh and ichbar shkagoy. That's a bias case, guys. In other words, this is not mamish bar because it's koyach achamurav boy. It's not mamish, not eish, because it's not darker leilach lahazik. It's neither one. So the only way I'd be chayiv, it can't be eish, it can't be bar. How am I chayiv? That tzadashava tells me, since it has the components of all of them, that darker lahazik shmas olecha shizchavamazik. There you go, guys. You have the rule of thumb. We're going with this, right? The tzadashava is creating the din. The tzadashava is creating the din. Okay. Next case. That's a bias case.
Right, Laser? It's me.
No kidding. Yeah.
Okay. I don't understand the logic with bar. Bar is always created by something or someone.
Yeah,
It
usually
may have happened about a week ago, but it is created by something else.
again, but it started off. It wasn't created by the koyach of Adam. You didn't go ahead and place it down there. You didn't go ahead and and dig it. It was created by the result of another force.
So what's the chiluk between the koyach Adam or koyach of another source?
Right? A koyach achmur boy that in creating this is a koyach acher, right? A person putting it down there or digging it is not a koyach acher. That a koyach acher means that there was a wind that came and blew it off. This blowing it off is a total different thing as opposed to a person when it was not in Rishus Rabim when the koyach acher. In other words, the koyach acher brought it from one place to another. Your case, the guy was in Rishus Rabim and created in Rishus Rabim.
Okay.
You don't seem convinced. It's one of your.
I'm not convinced.
Right?
I don't understand what the difference is if Adam creates it or something else creates it.
Again, there's a big difference. Again, Adam creating it he created it in that place where it does damage. This was not created in the place it does damage. It blew off a roof.
But when it fell, after it fell, it's there.
Okay, after it fell. But again, I would think that maybe even though it did damage after it fell, I'm not looking at the damage. I'm looking at its creation.
Okay.
You'll see Taisvis. Again, you have plenty of time. You're in that chair. You look at the top Taisvis. I think he addresses your issue, okay? Not the little one either. I meant the second one, okay?
Okay.
You're not convincing me.
Thank you.
Rabbi says, so what happens? They have a bar. It's in Rishus. Now, Meir's going to have a bigger problem with this one. You have a bar, it's in Rishus Rabim, comes along an animal and it rolls. And it rolls. Good? And it does damage. Now, hechidami. Id afkarinu, if you mafkar it, bein l'Rav, bein l'Shmuel, hainu bar. Then if say according to Rav, say according to Shmuel, this will what? This will be a bar. Right? This will be a bar. Maishna bar shekain tchilas asiyas l'nezek, u'shemras alecha, hani nami tchilas asiyas l'nezek shemras alecha. So you don't need the sarashava. Ella must be l'afkarinu. So you are mafkar. The Shmuel damakulmi bar l'manu hainu bar. So it says you were mafkar. So now what's that question? This is a bar. Leidami lebar. Mar lebar shekain ma'isa garmuloi. A bar, his action, his ma'isa, his act of going ahead and digging causes the damage. But over here, the ma'isa of something else, of what the animal kicking it. Look at Rashi. Ma'isa, go down a little bit, guys. Kriyasai garma esahezek. When a person digs a bar, it's his action that creates the damage. The action that caused the damage was what? Was the man or the animal kicking it? No. Regular is it does damage as it's walking along. It's doing damage derech chilucha, and as ekamatsui. This is not derech chilucha. It's not doing damage when it gets kicked. Doing damage, it rolls to another locale and does damage after when it gets to that locale. So therefore, so shar yachiach, the ma'isa of the baal doesn't cause the damage. In fact, he owns it. But what? Now, malashosh came darker leilach lahazik bar tochiach. The chazer adin lo rizek rizeh shows like bar. So now, according to Abaya, it's a limit from bar and ish. According to Rav, it's a limit between bar and shar. But again, what's the uniqueness of Admas Lakino Masosh Nichaber Shkagoy? You had a Koyach Achamur boy. What's this bar? When this bar was put down in point A, the damage in point B, it was the kicking of the animal in point B to point B that created the bar, and therefore, what I would say you're potter without the tzara shava. Now, Rav Ada bar Ava Amar, a third shot in the tzara shava, La Suye Hodatanya. Now, this is speaking about they had septic, they had cesspools, they didn't have like indoor plumbing, so they would at times be able to go ahead and put the excrement out in the Rishus Harabim, and their pipes open up their pipes and different things. That was in the winter time, because the winter time it was a quagmire anyway, but in the summer you couldn't do it. Okay, so the Tanya Kol Elu Shamru, all these cases where we say Paiskim be by Sayem, the Garfa Meir Sayem, they can open up their pipes or clean out their zevel. Is b'mosa chama ein lem rishus. They don't have rishus in the summer. Of b'mosa geshamim yesh lem rishus. Now, however, be aware. Af al pi rishus, even though you're acting with permission in the winter, imiziku chayev. It does damage to chayev. Chayev l'shalit. Now hechidami. Ibahade da asli kamaski. If when the guy's throwing it out, it lands on somebody and does damage. It damages what? Koichahu. That's adam amazik. Ella must be busted the Nike. When's it doing damage? After what it lands. Hechidami. Idafkarinu bein l'Rav bein l'Shmuel hainu bar. Maishna bar that chilas asiyas l'nesek from the time it's there. From the moment shmas l'lecha. Haninami, right? Yesh haninami. This as well. Of chilas asiyas l'nesek from shmas l'lecha. Ella must be l'afkarinu. So the Shmuel damakulmi bar l'manu hainu bar. Lo dafkarinu you mafkir lo dami l'bar. Malabash can shlei b'shus. Time behind the b'shus on the base, right? Shor yochiach. Shor will disprove you. Malashosh can dark leil chahazik bar tochiach because of the din you have a din right between bar and shor, and you'll learn out what that place can be the same. The guard from the same. So we have three pshatim. Abayis pshat admas sakina masosh and yicha b'Chicago falls b'ruach mitzuya. We have Rabbi's Pshat Bar Miskalgo Baragli Adam Bragli Behema, and we have Rav Adam Rabbi's Pshat about person can be able to say him, and we see each one has a unique thing, right? By his uniqueness is Koyach Hachamur boy. Rabbi's uniqueness Bar Miskalgo is Ein Ma'asav Garmaloi, and this is that he was Oisik Berishus, right? Therefore, you needed the Tzara Shava. Okay, we have a fourth opinion. Ravina Omar Lasuye Hadit Nan. Hakoisel v'ha'ilon shenaflu b'shus harabim. You have a wall and a tree that falls into Rishus Harabim, the hizik, and it does damage. So potem l'shalim, you potem from paying. However, what are you supposed to do? That's an honest that you couldn't have anticipated. It fell down. However, nasleisman lokutz as ilon, you gave a time frame to cut down the tree. Balister as a koisel and to knock down the wall. The nafnu b'toichasman ve'zikui poter la'achasman chayev. Okay, so therefore this wall. We have a little time. I see a Taisus in a second. Okay,
Was it about to hold the wall?
we'll be good Taisus. Now says no. If it damaged while what it was down on the ground, it's bar. Maishna bar dezeku matzu yishmasan alecha. Haninami dezeku matzu yishmasan alecha. Idle afkerinu l'shmul damakum lebar lemano hainu bar. Loylan afkerinu you mafker it. V'lay dami lebar. Malabash can't kilas asiyas lenezek. When it's standing, it's not there, right? So we have the din of now exactly when this is damaged is a discussion. We'll see Taisus in a second, okay? But the bottom line is we have 4 cases for the tzara shava that I wouldn't know directly from one because I have a kasha. The first one was Avna Sakina Masosh Nich Bershkago. The second one was Bar Miskalgo. The third one was Paiskin Baby Sayim, the government have Sayim, putting your refuse into Rishus Harabim. And the fourth one was Avna Sakina Masosh. Let's see this Taisus, the last Taisus. This Taisus begins on the Yom Aleph. Hainu Bar. L'chayra nira, the Mairi, it's speaking, Kishezikai Kaisel V'ilon B'shas Nefila Gufa. It's not speaking it did damage when it's on the ground. It's speaking where it did damage as it's falling. Now, even so, I would think it's more similar to Eish, but no, it's similar to bar. When it doesn't say over here, so when it didn't say over here, if as it does damage that's going down, right, that is similar to Eish. So therefore, it's similar to bar. For oid, if it's speaking about it does damage after it fell down the wall, since it fell down, he should have gone ahead and got rid of it right away. Then if it does damage when it's on the ground, it shouldn't have said they gave him time to cut the tree or to knock down the wall. Take time to go ahead, Rod, and clean it up. So in other words, Taisus is being Uriah. It must be speaking where it did damage on the way down as opposed to damage when it was on the ground. Even the behestik l'achmafila Iri, since it's speaking about damage, you have to fall down. Now, afagav the bar in hoylach lazika, even though bar doesn't go and do damage, ve'elu holchem mazikim, yeshon olam mi bar, the other hesik to do sholchem mazikim mi bar shein hoylach mazik elamazik b'mkomo. Still, v'nira the behestik l'achmafila Nami Matsinari. Says Taisus, not only is it speaking that it did damage on the way down, it could be speaking that what it did damage when it was on the floor. Now you'll ask you a question, so why don't you say you should have cleaned it up, or we should give him some to clean it up? Okay. Upatim l'shalim. Ukigoin, shaleinoy b'labalav shenaflu, he never knew. Oyadu, v'loyochel l'salkoi. No, he knew about it, he started cleaning it up, and before he had a chance to clean it up, someone got damaged. Kol kach, maher. So now, so it's speaking with the damage on the way when it was down on the floor. So what's the question? Why didn't the Gemara learn? Give him time to clean it up. Since it could be speaking about doing damage on the way down. In other words, just add one word, guys. When it says over here, guys. In other words, fellas, if you would have learned the following, look at me. If you would have learned the following, if they give him time to clean up, it couldn't have been speaking doing damage on the way down, because to clean up means it's on the floor already. So you'll be limiting the mazik. If the Gemara would have said, you give him time to clean it up, it can't be speaking that it did the damage as it's falling down, because the whole mazik is when it's on the ground. You wouldn't be limited. So by just saying now, you gave him time to cut it. You gave him time to knock it down. And also, Vilif Noisa. And that would go ahead and include Lukas Lister that even does damage as it's falling. And what? So why'd you be chayiv? Because it's speaking after this man. You were paisheya. You got the leaning tower of pizza in your back. Huh? Is it still standing, or did it fall down?
Had to fix it.
Huh? Hey, what fell down? The old man in this. The old man in there was. No. There was a rock. An old man of an old man had something. I think it whatever. What? Not in Gaza. Okay. Anyways, so Taisa says it's a very geschmack. So it can be speaking. It falls down, and also what? V'hasli asher shapid medami le'lebar tfei mila eish. Right. V'afagad b'shas nefili yesh l'mashal eish k'may lebar. In other words, guys, fellas, Taisa is very, very nice. It's on the way down. It's really similar to eish, but since it's speaking about chechatimsa, it makes more sense to go ahead and compare it to bar, because it can be speaking where it does damage when it's on the ground. It's a good Taisa to know. Most of the Taisas here, I skipped most of the Taisas, but every Taisas here is for Pshat is crucial. That's why I tell you should go to the Taisas. You'll do very well there. You'll do very well with it. Okay. New Gemara, new concept. Not so easy. Okay. The last part of the Mishnah was, you guys, I always find the first Mishnah in every Masechta, they for some reason they analyze more than any other. We went with it. Go back to the Mishnah, guys. Go back to the Mishnah.
The lady ago you were going to talk.
Let's look back at the Mishnah. Daf Beis Amud Aleph. Baruch for you, Daf Aleph. It says Arba Avos Nezikin. Hashar. Let's go through it now. Shar Machloikis Rav and Shmuel. According to Rav, Keren Shein v'Regel. According to Shmuel, it's Regel. Ba'bar Bar. Hamave. According to Rav, it's Adam. According to Shmuel, it's Shein. Why? Okay. Why don't you include Keren? Because our Mishnah is speaking about Muadim Etchilas and not speaking about a Tam. The Hahever is Eish. Lehari Ashar, if the Torah would have been Shar, Karei Mave, you would not be able to learn out what? You won't be able to learn out Mave from it. Lehari Mave Karei Ashar, Lezev Zesh Yesh Muachayim, Karei Eishem Ruachayim. Therefore, you couldn't learn out Eish from Shar and Bar and Mave. Lezev Sheshadakan Leilach Lahazik, all three. This is going on Shar, Bar, and Mave. Shar, Eish, Mava, and Eish. Kareya Bar Shein Dakar Leilach Lahazik. Good. Now, Hatzad Shava Sheben Shadakar Lahazik. Shemras Nolecha. That's, and we have 4 cases now, right? Well, we have 4 cases. Avnas Kina Masoy Shemricha Reshkagam Nafum Mitsuya. Bar Miskaldo. Paskin Bebesayim. And a tree and a wall that's only middle listar and the kites. Chav Hamazik. Ukeshehizik. When it does damage, Chav Hamazik. What does chav mean, guys? Chav means that what? That the person was. Chav usually means in chav la'adam, meaning it's going on the object. Meaning over here, it's mashma's going in the nizik, right? It shouldn't say chav. It should say chayiv hamazik, right? Good. The Gemara is going to ask that. The shalim tashlumi nezek b'meitav haaretz. So we're now going to analyze the last few words in the Mishnah. Chav hamazik shat tashlumi b'meitav haaretz. Okay. Says the Gemara. Tan Rabbana. No. Kishehiz chav hamazik. Chav hamazik. Chayav hamazik miboyle. You should say don't say chayav hamazik. Say chav hamazik. Says the Gemara. Amrav Yehuda. Amrav. Hai Tani Yerushalmi. Who? This Tana is Yerushalmi. The Tani Lishna Kalila uses a lashon that is kal. So really, it does mean chayiv. It does mean chayiv. Right. Okay. Like ein chavim la'adam, then it passed to say that it's going on for the person that you're acting upon. Over here to say it's going on the nizik doesn't make any sense. Okay, now kishehizik chavamas. Okay, now the shalim tashlumi nezek. You're going to pay tashlumi nezek. Now, the pasuk says, of course not. V'shilach es beiroi ubir b'stei acher. Right? Kiyavu adam as a sadar as you have a chumash. Right there, is that a chumash? Guys, look at you on your paper. You have the pasuk of. You should have the pasuk of Eish, not Eish, of Shein. You should have the pasuk of Shein. Right. So he just said ubir b'steyacha. But let's quote the whole pasuk, right? Let's quote the whole pasuk. Kiyava ish, it's a chaf beis dalid. Kiyava ish sadai kerem. A man is literally, he's going ahead and he's eating up his field. He sends out his animal, ubir b'steyacher, and it goes in another person's field. Meitav sadehu, the best of his field. The meitav karmoi, the best of his kerem mishalim. So by shein v'regel, it tells us something that a person, if you're going to pay karka, where do you pay from? Meitav sadehu, you pay your best of your field. Meitav sadehu makes the karem mishalim. You pay your best of your field. Now, whose field? Whose field? The best of the Masik's field, the best of the Nisik's field. What exactly are we speaking about when it says the best of the field? This is the machlokes. Okay, says the Gemara. Meitav sadeo, meitav karma yishalem, meitav sadeo shel nisik, umeitav karma shel nisik. Divrei Rabbi Yishmael. Now that Rabbi Kiva oimer leiboha kosov, the Torah is only coming to tell me, el ligvais and the zikim mid idios, you collect from the idios. Now, what did Rabbi Yishmael mean, fellas? He said, Meitav Sadeu, Meitav Karma Yishalem, Meitav Sadeu Shel Nizik, Umeitav Karma Shel Nizik. That's what, now, it's very cryptic what he says. You need Rashi, guys. You need Rashi. Rashi, let's go up to Rashi. Go up. Meitav Sadeu Shel Nizik, She'im Achla Aruga B'Sadehu, if the animal went ahead and ate a row in his field, in the Nizik's field, Shamin aruga mishubeches shel nizik. We go ahead and evaluate the best row of the nizik. Kama yafa achshav in peiroseha, how much it's worth with its peiros now. The kamate yafa belay peiros, and how much it would be worth what without this peiros v'nois loy. So Rashi touches up. Meitav sadeu, meitav kama yishalem. Rabbi Shmuel says meitav sadeu shel nizik. In other words, no matter what it ate, no matter what it damaged, when you evaluate, you're going to go to what? The Meitav Sadeh Shel Nizik. You're going to look at the best. So meaning, if it eats, let's say you have over there growing a row of macadamia nuts. I can't imagine, but it's expensive. And you have a row of beans. And the animal ate a row of beans. You're going to evaluate how much a row of macadamia nuts worth with the nuts or without the nuts. That's what Rashi said. No. This is not kanas. It's not kanas. It's not kanas. This is the way we teach up what? We teach up B'Shmuel. No, here's the words of Rabbi Shmuel. Tanur Banon says, Meitav Sadeh, Meitav Kamish Yishalem. What does that mean? Meitav Sadeh Shel Nizik, Umeitav Kamish Shel Nizik. You'll always evaluate the damage based upon the best of, I'm evaluating it regardless of what he ate. I'm always going to evaluate based upon the best of the nizik. That's a chiddush nifla, guys. That's why it's not. That's the way I'm going to touch it up. You hear? That's the way Rashi touches it up. What does Rabbi Akiva answer to that? You collect from idios. Now, back in the Gemara, the question all you guys have: Rabbi Shmuel, if it eats macadamia nuts. I can understand you pay macadamia nuts. Achel kechusha, if it eats beans, mishalim shmeina, makes no sense. Makes no sense. That's why Heshi said it's a kanas. It makes no sense to say you should go ahead and whatever damage it does, you're going to value. They burned down a house in Bushwick, and you're going to based upon Park Avenue. That doesn't make any sense. That's what was bothering you, Heshi. Says it doesn't make any sense. So Amar Avidi Baravman, you're right. You know what we're dealing with over here? You're going there was a bunch of different types of things growing. There were macadamia nuts, there were beans, there was corn, there was all different types of things. And we don't know if it ate beans, or it ate macadamia nuts. That what? The mishalim shmeina. So you're right. If you know for sure that it ate beans, you're gonna pay beans. If you know for sure you ate macadamia nuts, you pay macadamia nuts. When you're not sure, macadamia nuts. Amarava uma ilu yadinan the kachusha achal loy mishalem el kachusha. If you knew it ate beans, you're only going to pay beans. Hashta de lo yadinon, you don't know. Ikachusha achal, ishmena achal. Mishalim shmena, you play macadamia nuts? Like any Suffolk mammon, you want to be mitzi from me. I'm being muhsik. You want to be mitzi for money? Being a riot that it ate macadamia nuts, and you'll get. So far we're stuck. What does Rabbi Yishmael mean? So this initial interpretation of Rabbi Yishmael is problematic because we're saying when it says the Meitav Kamishal Nizik, we're not speaking about Tashlumin, we're speaking about evaluating the damage. And you're evaluating it based upon what? The best. Guys, you guys understand? I think you understand the end of the Gemara already. You know when it comes to Meitav Sadeh, we're speaking about Tashlum and payment. In the Havmin of the Gemara, we're not speaking about Tashlum and payment. We're speaking about evaluating how much to pay. We're speaking about the valuation, and we're having problems getting to that. You should whatever it is, you should evaluate. And if you don't know, it's a mitzvah, right? So now we're switching gears totally. Ella, you're right. Ella means what? Let's get off that. Let's get off that. Okay, here's the distinction. Ella Amar Avacha Yaakov, Hacha Mayaskina. You know what we're dealing with over here? Kigoin Shahaisa Idius the Nizik Kiziburis the Masik. This Nizik had grade 1 land. It's grade 1 land. He had 1, 2, and 3, right? He has a land that's 1. However, the idius of 1 was equal to the ziburis of the mazik. The mazik's 3 was equal to the nizik's 1. The mazik had gavaldika land, guys. The mazik had really good land. The nizik didn't have such good land. So the nizik's best is the mazik's worst. Now here's the question. What do you pay? Does he pay his best the mazik, or can he pay the nizik his ziburius? Because his ziburius is the nizik's idius. Guys, look, watch my hand. Guys, look. This is the mazik. He's got 1, 2, and 3, right? This is the nizik. The nizik's best. His 1 is his 3. So says Rabbi Yishmael, you could pay your 3. Why? Because this ziburius is his idius. Comes along Rabbi Kiva and say what? Like boy, right from idiot. You're going to pay your number 1. The mazik will pay his number 1. That's his number 1.
So Rashi that you said before.
We're getting off that. That was a havamina. But Ella, get it's a havamina. We're not speaking at all about that Rashi. That Rashi was speaking about evaluating based upon what he ate. We're not doing that anymore, Harold. We're saying now we're going according to what he pays. Whatever the damage is, the damage is. No matter what it is, we'll evaluate Asher Sham. Whatever it is, we don't care. He ate something, we'll evaluate it. Whatever it is, we'll evaluate that. That's it. And we don't care. So now, what? That's not so fair. Why? In terms of value, you're getting the same number of money. But again, the question is, how do you dash in the... There's no... Again, you're getting $1 million house in Bushwick or $1 million in one's going to be a little more square foot. Yeah, but again, you'd rather have okay. But again, the mazik would get off. He'd be very glad in this case, right? Now, so now you have the machlokes, right? His best is his worst. Says Rabbi Yishmael, he gives him his worst. Why? Because it's his best. And what? The shaman b'the nizik. What does Rabbi Kiva say? Shaman b'the mazik, and you're going to give your best. So says the Gemara. Now you have it. Elamar Racha. By Yaakov, what are we dealing with over here? Kigoin shahoise idius the nizik kiziburis the mazik. The mazik uboha pligi. Very small savar bid the nizik shaminon. When you go ahead and you evaluate what to give, you go according to the valuation of the nizik, and therefore the mazik will be able to give his worst, his ziburius. Rabbi Akiva Sava no bid the mazik shaminon. You go after the mazik, and he will have to give his best. In other words, land that the nizik couldn't ever dream of having. My time with Rabbi Yishmael. What's the reason Rabbi Yishmael? Okay, so now, what does the pasuk say, guys? Listen. The pasuk says, "Kiyav ish sada oikerem b'shilach es beiroi ubir b'stei acher." Now, kiyav ish sada oikerem. Now, a man is going ahead and he's being mavar a field. It goes out and is bir b'stei acher. Meitav sadeh or meitav karma yishalim. Okay, ubir bistei acher. Where's the damage taking place? Whose field? Mazik and Nizik. Meitav sadehu, the meitav of what? Of his field, meitav karma yishalim. In other words, it says at the beginning of the pasuk, it says ubir bistei acher. at the end of the pasuk it says meitav sedeu. So therefore, I have a gezer shava, the sada. Okay, guys, got it again. Bir bisteyacher, meitav sedeu. It's just like the sada above is speaking about the niziks, so to the payment is speaking about the nizik. My time to be small. Never sada lamata. It says meitav sedeu yishalem. The never sada lamaylo bir bisteyacher. Masada amar lamayla the nizik. It's speaking about the nizik's field. Afsada amar lamata the nizik. And therefore, you're going to the masik will be able to give him his worst because it's the best of the nizik. Rabbi Akiva holds meitav sedeu u meitav karma yishalem. What who that mean? Meitav sedeu, meitav karma yishalem. The heich the karma yishalem. Now l'chayra Rabbi, who would you say is correct? What makes more sense? Rabbi Akiva, right? Rabbi Akiva, meitav sedeu, the best of his field. He's playing, right? The heich the karma yishalem, the guy who's paying. Now, Rabbi Yishmael, now it's such a pashut question that it's not that Rabbi Yishmael is disagreeing. He's going to agree with it, but in other words, usually it's not. Well, no, Rabbi Yishmael is learning. He said, no. Again, Rabbi Yishmael, why doesn't he hold Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva is not holding Gezer Shava. He had maybe this Sorah on it from his Rebbe. But I'm saying, no. My question is, if it's so pashut that it's meitav sedeu, what does Rabbi Yishmael do, Rabbi Akiva? The Gemara doesn't ask what Rabbi Akiva does, Rabbi Yishmael. Well, it does. Let's see the Gemara. It doesn't ask that way. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yishmael, what does he do? Rabbi Akiva's limud. Ahani gezer shava, v'ahani kra. My gezer shava is good, and I have the pasuk being good. Ahani gezer shava kidu kaminan. I have the gezer shava in the case what? With the ziburius of the masiks, equal to the idios and the nizik. That's when I'm going to use that for. Ahani kra kigoin the islay lemazik idios v'ziburius. The mazik has idios v'ziburius. The idios l'nizik v'ziburius the mazik like shava kidios the nizik. Okay, guys, let's do the hands. Okay, so now look, the mazik has this, guys. He has idios and he has ziburius. The nizik has idios, but it's not worth this. It's worth this. It's somewhere in the middle. So he doesn't have to pay this. You have to pay idios. So when it's equal, I'm paying his idios. When it's not equal, then I'll pay the masik's idios. When it's not equal, then I'll up it. So I have the gezer shava for when the idios and the ziburius are equal, and I have the other case where what the pasuk itself, when the masik's going to pay his best, when the idios of the nizik is worth more than the ziburius of the mazik, but not equal to the idios of the nizik, because then there's no nafkamina to the mazik, because then there's no nafkamina in halacha. If the nisiks and the maziks are equal, there's no nafkamina. So the case would be in that case where what? So gezer shava when the idios of the nizik is like the ziburius of the mazik, and the pasuk would help when the idios of the nizik is better than the ziburius of the mazik, but not as good as the idios of the mazik. Delay matzi amalei. The masik's not able to tell him, Te'at gavi miziburius, go and collect from my ziburius. Ela gavi meitav, you collect from meitav. Okay, let's see Taisus over here. It says Taisus, going to show you idios the nizik is ziburius the masik. The ibchalei matzi lemeimar, right? You can't say the opposite that the idios of the masik is like the ziburius of the nizik, right? The kuliyama moida the emishalem el idios sheyeshlo. In other words, you can't expect. Let's say the nizik is here and the masik is here. You can expect him to go ahead and buy to be mashlim, right? Again, the idios of the nizik like the ziburius of masik. What happens if the ziburius of the nizik is like the idios of the masik, right? Would you expect that Rabbi Akiva that say that the opposite way, that to expect him to go buy? No, that you don't do. The Kuliyama Maida, even Rabbi Akiva with Maida, they mishalem el idios sheyesh. In other words, you only pay the idios that you have. And sarach liklis, and you don't have to go ahead and buy. I mean, come on, as we'll see later on. You only have ziburius, everyone's going to collect what from ziburius. Okay, so let's see what we have, because we're going to stop over here because the next sugya is a new sugya. So tonight we saw last sugya, we saw the Tzad Shava, 4 cases. Then we got into Machloikis, Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Shmuel says that you collect from the nizik. Rabbi Akiva says the mazik. What's the Machloikis? The Machloikis is twofold. is the Gzeira Shava. Rabbi Kiva doesn't hold from that Gzeira Shava, and there's a pasuk. And the pasuk's mashma the masik. You pay it according to the masik. Says Rabbi Shmuel, I apply the Gzeira Shava, Sada, and I apply the pasuk. When do I apply the Gzeira Shava? Where the idios of the nizik is equal to the ziburius of the mazik. In that case, when the idios of the nizik is worth to the ziburius of the mazik, here you go. Look in this case, then he can pay with ziburius. Why? Because he's paying his best. However, in a case where it's better than that, then I'm going to apply the pasuk. That's why he's going to up it to go ahead over there. Okay.